Alright, you guys, time to get the second episode out of the way. So, surprisingly enough, this is an instant classic. As far as American Pie fans are concerned, this is an instant classic movie. And I say surprisingly, not because it's an instant classic, but because this is actually my first time watching this. And I've never waited so long to watch an American Pie movie. At least not a good one. And, by the way, Beta House, I will tear you to shreds later. Oh, I will have fun tearing you apart. Oh, I really hope you are not a Beta House fan. So, just no. But anyway, that comes later. So, the story with this one is, okay, so, the main gang, and Stifler, which I consider to be part of the main gang, but, they all have some sort of personal issue that they needed to deal with since, they last met, which was years prior. Okay, so Jim and Michelle are having marital issues. They kind of, okay, so they had a kid after a while, and at this point he's 2, and for 2 years now, they haven't done it at all. They haven't done it. Bluntly put, they haven't done it once in 2 years. Which, for Michelle, is appallingly, that's shocking. That is, I don't even know how to explain that away. Really, I don't. You should be ashamed. But, 2 years, and none at all. Well, know each other. But, I mean, it's not like they cheated, just laptops are useful, let's put it that way. So, they both travel over to the falls, next to the school, for the reunion. So they're dealing with that. That's their storyline, or subplot. Oz is now a sports commentator. And he seems like a good one. Yeah, that really corny wannabe catchphrase at the beginning that you'll see if you see the movie. Or if you've seen it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Which I'm not going to repeat because people who know me know exactly why I won't repeat it. It's loud. Just know. So anyway. So he has that going on. And then his girlfriend, which I thought she was his wife at first. And all the people who've seen this would probably be face palming because it probably had some sort of giveaway, or if not, she did from the beginning give off this girlfriend vibe. Like, it's not a committed thing, but they're together in some way. Sort of just a girlfriend sort of vibe she gave off in the beginning, but I, for some reason, thought that she was his wife at first. But, whatever. So she's really a serious freak. At least like a freak in the past she was. Like, she's done a whole lot of stuff. Like, they did that drinking game, Never Have I Ever, and she was like plastered by the end. She drank to everything at least once, and never have I ever seen someone drink that many times in that game. Ever. So, having this problem where she is like just always physical, and she's just, I don't want to say valley girl, but she's like, and she's not spoiled either. It's like the problems in this were actually a little bit more realistic than American Pie fans would be used to, but with all the same, with a lot of the same hijinks, I guess you could say. A lot of the same jokes and physical humor and all that. But it is just realistic. Like, Oz's girlfriend, she wasn't spoiled. She was rich, though. She was rich off of him. So that's what got her attitude all twisted, and I don't know, she's just ignorant in a lot of ways, and doesn't get him for him. She wants him, she likes him, for something that he's not, basically. So anyway, and Vicky, Tara Reid, who, as always, looked amazing for this new king. Completely, and just all Tara Reid fans watched this movie. I mean, and I don't want to say surprisingly enough, but like, for an American Pie movie, she did nothing. Like, there was nothing. Like, you would think that, with all the returning cast members, like, she would have done something, American Pie, like, you know, like, some sort of, like, she would have ended up, and there was one point where she did end up with no clothes on, but that was explained later. It's just, like, kind of it's just, like, not a mistake, but, like, a misunderstanding. Like, she didn't have clothes on, but it was because they had gotten wet, and she took them off the night before, and that's why she didn't have clothes on. But he would have thought that she would have ended up in some sort of, like, odd, dirty scene or something like that. You know, just something, or, like, maybe walking out of a bathroom with Oz, you know, like, you know, hair all messed up, and Oz, you know, clothes ripped or something like that. You know, something like that, but she didn't. Nothing, like that. You know, keep it classy. But, she got into this weird, it was sort of a triangle, but not really. The one that was more of a triangle, there were, actually, it was weird. There were two major triangles. One was between Michelle and this girl named Kara, who Jim used to babysit. Kara, he used to babysit Kara. And, she looks nice. She looks good now. And he's a babysitter, and her character, all the way to the very end, I think it almost redeemed. I think it redeemed her, but it was right there. It was right at the line. Her finishing dialogue redeemed her just enough to me. But all the way up until the very end, she was in this insane stupor where she thought that all she had to do was kind of fall at Jim, and he would, you know, they'd end up, like, together. It was pretty much just physical. But she did used to like him, apparently, as a little girl. Weird. But, you know, I don't know. I guess girl, babysitter, what are you gonna do? But, just, it was just one of those aggravating things. And then, of all characters, Michelle didn't understand that Kara was a person who just wanted physical, just physical, that's it. Somehow, Michelle ended up doing the thing where, they met, and Jim tried to explain in the nerdy, stumbling way that he could, but it's the best way that he could at the time, that Kara's been, like, falling all over him, naked at one point, and, you know, that kind of stuff. And of all people, Michelle was not understanding at the time, and I get it. I get that you'd be upset. I understand anyone who would be upset at that situation, but of all the characters of American Pie in the history of American Pie movies, how could Michelle not understand that Kara just wanted physical, he had physical needs, and that's all she did. She had just turned 18. So that's what she was looking for. That's it. She wasn't looking for a relationship. She wasn't looking to be together, though she used to crush on him. That's it. Physical, and that's it. And Michelle was, like, not understanding. She ran off crying, and she wasn't there till, like, closer to the end of the movie where they made up, and they explained everything. Like, and they made up. And whatnot. And, just, you know, so they did wrap up their storyline. They hadn't been doing a lot, and they hadn't been able to find a lot of alone time, well, with the kids and all that. And they were kind of drifting apart. They just needed more husband and wife time, I guess. Which they resolved by the end. Let's see, who else? Let's see. Finch. Well, Finch had kind of created this elaborate, most interesting man in the world life, since they had last met, which was, you know, like I said, years prior. He said he had, like, traveled the world, been to all sorts of places, France, you know, every country in, or almost every country in South America, all over the place, Africa, all over the place, and which is what he wanted to do originally. But in reality, the truth of the matter was that he hadn't done any of that stuff. He had been living in New Jersey, and he had I can't remember the job that he had, but it was just a, you know, regular, boring office job in New Jersey, I think. And so, you know, he had lied up until the end, when he was found out because he had stolen his boss's motorcycle to get to the reunion. And he was found out. He just kind of stayed in jail overnight. So, you know, by the end, he hooked up with this girl who used to go to band camp with Michelle, and not for those reasons. In all seriousness, not for those reasons, but just because they both used to be the lonely, nerdy, outcast, nice guy types, nice girl types, and, you know, just came together, they clashed. She forgave him for lying from the beginning. She understood that he wanted to impress everyone, and, you know, he thought they had a boring lifestyle, but, you know, your job is just what your job is. You know, what you do is what you do, and how you are is, you know, you determine how you are. You determine the way that you act and that you treat other people is really what other people think of you. And saving the best for last. Stifler, having still not gotten over the fact that Finch whooped his mom previously, still lives with his mom, but is a temp at this, not a lawyer, but some big firm, and big firm. Some big firm. The point is, he works at he has an office job, a nice office job, but he's just a temp. So there's that median. So he has a Stifler of his own. He has a bully who just kind of kicks him around, and he's a guy who's in a way small. It's an exact replica of Stifler, except he doesn't look anything like it. He kind of hoards a job over Stifler and Stifler alone, just like Stifler bullies around the guys. I mean everyone, but mainly the guys. He kind of lords himself over Stifler, gets him to do all the work that he wants him to do. Anyway, see, Stifler's problem is that he is still kind of psychologically stuck back in the 90s, back in high school, where, he's still trying to cope with the real world, to have an actual job, trying not to reveal that he still lives with his mom, he shares a house with his mom, whatever. The point is, he has some issues coping with reality. And the reality is, he's not in high school anymore. He's not, free spirit, do what you want, and no real consequences because your parents are going to deal with it. That kind of life. He's still coping with the fact that it's not like that anymore. And the way that his storyline kind of ties up by the end is, okay, so basically he's trying to, the whole time he's trying to, in all honesty, he's trying to do the same thing that the old Stifler would always try to do, which is get some. Once. Just at least once. 12 times preferred, but at least once. So, his victory is that he meets Finch's mom. And the golden opportunity of a lifetime just happens to be set upon his lap. Literally. Just priceless moment follows. Lacrosse field, less clothes than I could have imagined. Finch's mom happening. And just, wow. Victory for Stifler. Victory for, I'm assuming, Finch's mom. Yes. Victory for Finch because he landed with the nice girl. Victory for everybody else. Victory for Oz because he landed with the girl that he wanted to be with in the first place. Victory for Jim because I'm saying victory way too much. Jim wins. Victory. Jim wins because he and Michelle finally work out the fact that they just needed that spark put back into their relationship, and everything kind of ties in very well by the end. Everyone copes with the life that they have, and they promise that they'll get back together. They'll try to get back together about once every year. Which I think is a false promise at the end. I think that was the one thing that I disliked about the movie. Is that they kind of laid down this foundation for a sequel, which I really don't think that they should have, because this was well-rounded, perfectly. This is a perfect ending to a franchise. Everyone has new issues that they need to resolve, which they wouldn't have thought they would have had in 15, 20 years prior. And they're resolved. All their issues are resolved by the end, the ways that they should be, and in ways that last. And Stifler got to support Finch's mom, so there's that. Also, Tim's dad finally got with someone else. Because this was a sort of it wasn't all that subtle. It hit you really hard. They just kind of stated outright. But 3 years before that, Tim's mom passed. So he's kind of been lonely for 3 years. He's kind of on his own. So over time, he's trying to mingle, I guess, he's at one of Stifler's parties, and it doesn't start out the way you think it would start out, but it kind of gets back sort of into the groove of a classic Stifler party. Sort of. But believe it or not, it starts out with wine and hors d'oeuvres, so something to look forward to if you haven't seen this movie yet. Stifler with wine and hors d'oeuvres. Never would have thought that, ever. So, just over time, Jim's dad is just kind of trying to cope and, just trying to be social and kind of get out there and, talk to people. And by the end, he ends up with, all people, Stifler's mom. And that does sound like a great American Pie joke, Jim's dad and Stifler's mom, but it's, seriously, Jim's dad and Stifler's mom. For real. Get drunk together, they're out together, and they do that. Oh, and I won't say it for the people who haven't seen it, or at least the people who leave right when the credits start. But there's a scene during the credits with there's I'm assuming first date scene with Jim's dad and Stifler's mom in the movies, and that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm going to say. Just if you're watching it, if you're watching a version if you're watching an online version that stops right when the credits start or something like that, find one with the credits, or just find the credit scene for American Pie Reunion somewhere if you haven't already seen it. Priceless moment for Jim's dad. But all in all, it was a great classic American Pie experience, and I cannot wait to see whatever the next movie is that you guys, or that my mind, challenges me to watch. By challenges, I do mean that the next movie, I want it to be a bad movie. I gotta balance this out. I'm trying to do a review a day, and technically, this would count as 2 reviews a day, because, it is the AM, so later on today, I'm planning on doing another review. Impromptu or other type of review, I'm not entirely sure. Preferably, I'd like to get an episode of a new show or segment that I'd like to call restricted reviews, which kind of like movies that they might be really bad, they might be really good, they might be whatever kind of quality or however good or bad they are, but they'll be restricted movies, R-rated movies, and no PG-13. I mean actually strictly restricted. Strictly R and up. That's up. R and higher. And this is clean. This is impromptu reviews. This is as clean as I can get, possibly, and that is forced. This is very forced right now. Normally, it would be more the way that I'm imagining restricted reviews will go. I say whatever, do whatever, and get, my opinion out. Whatever way I feel appropriate. R and up. So, whatever the next movie is, try to make it a rated R movie or worse. By worse, I mean, rated R, but it just barely made rated R. Or I don't mean that kind of rated R. I mean really hardcore rated R movies. Serious, really up there. Good or bad. Oh, okay. The next one, if it's gonna be a rated R movie or if it's gonna be a restricted review potential movie, make it a really bad movie. Not bad because it's R, but bad because it's a really crappy movie. It's a horrible movie. Make it that. I need to balance this out because American Pie Reunion was great. Instant classic. next review, I need to make it really bad. So, you want to be a restricted reviews movie, you need to, make sure it's rated R, make sure it's a horrible, horrible movie. If not restricted, if only impromptu, just make sure it's a bad movie. I really don't care what rating it is if you don't want it to be restricted. Just, aim it and just make sure that it's, at least to you, really, really crappy. That's the end of episode 2 of Impromptu Reviews, and I'll see you next time.